We are post-spring ball. That means it's list season. Who's the most dangerous team in the SEC heading into 2025? Time to get the squad together.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad, sponsored by Game Time. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up. You're part of the SEC squad.
Oh, yeah. Welcome into the SEC squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we get you ready for another wild week. Talking all things SEC. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. Let's welcome in our squad for this week. We've got John Miller, host of Locked On Mizzou, John Williams, host of Locked On Sooners, Corey Burton, host of Locked On Vandy. I'm Chris Gordy, host of Locked On SEC. We'll see if there are any other our brethren want to jump in as we get this show on the road this week. But guys, we just closed the books on spring ball, and we are now officially into what I like to call list season. This used to be magazine season. It was when, all the big preview guides would start coming out. We start really getting focused and attention, turned to the next football season. But list season, we're starting to see all of people listing. Here's the best teams in the college football. Here's the best teams in the SEC. Here's the best quarterbacks in the SEC. So I want to pose the question to you guys coming out of spring. Give me a team in the SEC that you look at and say that team is dangerous, and it can't be your team. What team do you think is dangerous heading into 2025?
I think Tennessee is starting to fly under the radar a little bit simply because of the whole Nico Iamaleava thing. I think they're always a dangerous team. Any Josh Heupel team is dangerous. They were just in the playoff last year. I know they got humiliated by Ohio State. I think some of that is lowering their expectations almost to an unfair point.
I think I'll say this because John can't per the rules, but I think Oklahoma is dangerous there with John Mateer and Arbuckle and everything and all that they got going on with their team. I think they improved a lot throughout the portal, and their team I think people need to watch out for. Venables has kind of fixed some things that he needed to fix on the offensive side of the ball. Hopefully, John, for your sake, y'all stay healthy. Vandy doesn't play y'all, so I don't care what you do. So, but I think you guys are dangerous. And then, Chris, since you can't talk about LSU, they're potentially dangerous too. They've got a lot of talent, and I'm really excited to see what Barryon Brown can do. He's a Nashville product, so we'll partial to that one.
Yeah, I think, and Oklahoma fans are going to hate it when I say this, but I think Missouri is flying a little bit under the radar right now, and I hate even saying it, but the schedule really kind of lines up fairly well for them. There's not a whole lot going on with that. I mean, obviously they got the games against Alabama, Texas A&M. They're going to loom large. You got South Carolina as well, but the rest of it's pretty manageable for them. And then you got that game at Oklahoma, the second to last weekend of the season. But if they can steal a couple games in there, they might be flirting with a 10-win season once again. The other one is Auburn. Again, Oklahoma fans are going to hate it if I say it, because if Jackson Arnold is able to get the monkey off of his back from the 2024 season, Auburn's got the weapons, man, to make him a prolific quarterback in the SEC. Again, it's big ifs, but those are two of the teams that I think are still flying a little bit under the radar. Past that, I think everybody's probably pretty accurately ranked or rated right now.
Yeah, I think everyone except for Kentucky, you can say, is pretty dangerous, because I'm not buying Kentucky at all. I'm not really buying Mississippi State at all either, but I think the rest of the teams in the conference, you could say, you can make some sort of claim that, hey, you better watch out for this team, because, they got a piece here, a piece there, some pieces over on the lines, and, whatever the case may be per those teams, you can make a case that they're all dangerous. So this conference is at an all-time high, just in general.
So Williams, Jackson Arnold, you're really a believer, huh? That's ironic. I love the irony.
Give it to me. Jackson Arnold ship. I know I've been one of those guys that have been driving the hype train even back to last offseason. I still think the talent is immense. I think what happened in 2024, offensive line, so many injuries that you're down to your 3 deep. Wide receiver issues, so many injuries that you're down to your 3 deep. That's not an adequate place to be if you're trying to develop a quarterback. You have an offensive coordinator change midseason. None of it went well for the kid, but there's the talent. The talent is there. To me, now it's about the mental aspect. Can he bounce back mentally from what was a really, really rough season? And it's just moments too, where, okay, you get the ball first and goal at the 5-yard line against Tennessee early in the season. What do you do the very next play? You fumble the ball. Okay. It's 23-23 in the final couple minutes against Missouri. And what do? You fumble the ball. Mizzou picks it up, runs it the other way. So it's those kind of things where if he can correct those and he gets a little bit of help from people around him, then I think he has the chance to be pretty good. But it's just a matter, I think, of the mental game. I still think he's got the tools to be a dynamic player.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up real quick, and well, I'll bring it up here in a second. But guys, the rankings coming out for some of the different publications and putting where they think teams stand right now, and it's what's interesting is seeing the teams that are catching a lot of love, and I've seen some people are really getting optimistic on Alabama, and I'm just curious where you guys stand on them, because obviously Kalen DeBoer, 9-4, not the bar. They expect to make the playoff every year in the Saban era. And so a lot of people are buying into it, obviously with the hiring of Ryan Grubb as offensive coordinator. But where are you guys in Alabama? Are you saying this is a playoff team this year in terms of the Tide?
I don't know. I think they can be. I think if Kalen DeBoer finds his guy in Ty Simpson and he proves to be that distributor kind of quarterback that they need with Ryan Grubb calling the plays, I think they can be. Will they? It remains to be seen. They're going to have to kind of prove it for me, but I think they're in a better position now than they were prior to Ryan Grubb being hired and with Jalen Milroe as quarterback.
Yeah, I just need to see it. Like, I think obviously it's Alabama. There's going to be talent. It's going to be a good team. I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. Ryan Grubb has been one of the hottest offensive coordinator names in college football for 3-4 years. Now you just have to go prove it. You had an established team, an experienced team last year, and you fell flat in some games. Can you rise to the occasion with some inexperience, especially at quarterback? That's going to be the question. I think they've got some talent. It's a matter of, can that inexperience be not so much covered up? Can it be built up to where they're not falling flat in big time games?
I tend to think they're going to go young at quarterback this season too. And I tend to be fairly bullish on Alabama. I certainly don't want to be dismissive of that program, but really, especially Kalen DeBoer. I think he proved what an excellent coach he is at Washington already. Alabama is obviously a different animal, but I do think it's a pretty amazing what pressure he seems to be under in year two. But yeah, I can't be dismissive of Alabama. At the same time, I do think they're sort of maybe in the pile with Tennessee and Ole Miss a little bit, maybe Texas A&M and Missouri, that kind of deal. Teams that have some question marks at quarterback, but otherwise have pretty impressive rosters.
How do we feel about Texas A&M?
Good team, but tell me, can Marcel Reed become a passer?
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like every week I gave up on Marcel Reed. He would have a good game, and then I'd start to buy in, and then he would prove the previous opinion right. So I need to see some consistency from him before I totally buy into Texas A&M this year.
That's the team I was going to bring up, because it seems like they're catching a lot of love, and people like that they went out and added, got some weapons for him in the transfer portal. Obviously, they got the kid Micah Hudson, who ended up reneging and going, I think was going to go back to Texas Tech. I don't know where he ended back up, but Casey Concepcion from NC State, Mario Craver from Mississippi State, along with Terry Bussey and some of the other pieces. And obviously the running backs, Levy and Moss back healthy, Reuben Owens back healthy. I mean, it's, that they ran the ball really well, and they were looking strong. It's 7-1, leading the SEC, by mid-season, and then fell apart down the back stretch. But as I read some of these preview lists and all that this week, people are high on the Aggies. I just wonder, guys, there's a reason why they call them Texas 8-4. I mean, it feels like they're stuck in that rut that they can never get over the hump. What say you?
Yeah, and to me, you're going to have a good defense with Mike Elko. I think you're going to be good in the trenches. You're going to have a good run game. Mm-hmm. But can you win a 34-31 game? Is Marcel Reed going to be able to throw well enough? Is he going to make that developmental jump to become a better passer to win some of those football games for him? You're not going to be able to grind out every game just with a ground game. You can win some games like that, but you're going to be in some big time matchups where you're going to have to throw the ball and you're going to have to rely on Marcel Reed to pick up a big time 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12 to keep a drive going to go get a game winning score. Can he do that? That's my question with him. And I think he can. It's just developmental. You just got to keep developing, keep growing as a player and as a passer. He's got all the other tools, man. The dude is lights out as a runner. He seems to have the intangibles there as just a gamer. He's one that can step up in big games, but now he's got to show it as a passer to become that complete player at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree totally with that, John. That's completely with Marcel Reed being a complete passer.
I wonder what it would have taken for A&M to have kept Connor Wigman around, who ends up at Houston. Obviously a really highly touted player coming out of high school, had his moments last season. Heck, he started against Missouri, and you guys mentioned they were 7-1. I think that was probably their high point of the season there, coming off a big win against my Tigers. And like you say, they kind of, Wigman got hurt a little bit, but man, I just liked when they had both of those options as opposed to one. You see all the money that's thrown around in College Station. I just wonder what it would have kept him around, and did they keep the right quarterback, quite honestly?
Did he want to stick around? That's
the other part of it, obviously. And that comes back to my point of, did they pick the right quarterback? I honestly don't know. I don't want to be dismissive of Reed, because there have been times where he's been surprisingly good. So I don't want to just completely dismiss his abilities.
Well, Wegman couldn't stay healthy. I mean, so that's another reason why they were out on him. But keep an eye on Jacob Zeno, a name maybe not too many people are familiar with, a kid who started his career at Baylor for a couple of years, played at UAB the last 2 years, threw for 3,100 yards 2 years ago, 20 touchdowns. He went in there as a senior transfer. Look, he's going to push Marcel Reed. I don't know if he's going to win that job, but he's going to push him. And if something were to happen with Marcel Reed, they got a good option, number 2, that maybe they could turn to. So we shall see. We talked about the Aggies. What about the Longhorns? They're getting a lot of love. When we return, guys, should we be afraid of the Longhorns? The SEC squad talking more ball next. Hey, more with the SEC squad in just a second. But first, there's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy for you to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as you get closer to tip-off, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Like we said, 60% off is what you can save up to buying last minute for sporting events, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever it is. Those last-minute deals are going to help you out, and they're all-in pricing, means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Go take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege. Get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem our code LOCKEDONCollege. Get $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. SEC squad, roll along here. And, guys, I got to bring this up because 24/7 Sports did their post-spring rankings this week, and I couldn't help but notice, of the teams from the SEC, they had Texas sitting at number 1 in the country. And I say to you, is this all Arch Manning hype? Is this just love for Sark because they made the playoffs 2 straight years? Or is Texas bona fide the number 1 team in the country? I can't wait to hear John Williams' take on this.
Listen, the Texas Longhorns are the Dallas Cowboys. Anytime that the media is going to get an opportunity to hype them up, they're going to take it, because the Texas Longhorns are going to create that buzz. It's just a matter of fact. I mean, it is what it is. They have been waiting for Texas to be back for a decade and a half. And finally, Texas lived up to the hype, made the playoff in back-to-back years, and they could not wait to rank Texas number 1 in the preseason. Listen, can they be good? Absolutely. I think they could be a really, really good team again this year. First-year starter at quarterback in Arch Manning, who's got the tools, but we saw what happened when he played a legitimate team in Georgia. The lights were a bit too bright for my man, okay? That doesn't mean that that's who he is as a quarterback. I'm just saying, before we go ahead and crown him the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft, which he's not going to be a part of, before we go ahead and hand him the Heisman Trophy, before we go ahead and make Texas the national champion, maybe let's tap the brakes and see what he's going to be able to do against Ohio State in week 2.
I've lost a lot of NFL guys off that roster too, including the offensive tackle there, Kelvin Banks, a lot of pieces off that defense too. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. I'm sure Texas absolutely deserves to be one of the contenders for the league title without a doubt, but let's just not, I don't know, assume everything. It's strange that we live in a world where Texas is getting so much more of the benefit of the doubt than the Crimson Tide right now.
Yeah, and over the team that beat them twice last season, once in the SEC title game, they're ranked ahead of that team. And that team didn't really lose as much to the NFL draft as Texas did. They return a lot of production defensively. Georgia does. And they host Texas in Athens. I don't know. I don't see it.
You look at ESPN's returning production, Texas's offense is down at 126. Now, they added some pieces since that came out. Yeah, the defense is going to be good. I mean, Anthony Hill Jr., Colin Simmons, those dudes are legit dudes. They're really, really, really good football players. They'll be future first-round NFL draft picks. It's just there's so much turnover on offense when you lose Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, Jaden Blue, not Alfred Blue. That's a throwback. Jaden Blue. Sorry, excuse me. There's a lot of talent that they lost along that offensive line. I mean, retooling, it's a lot. Can Arch Manning be enough to overcome all that turnover and get all the pieces to fit together? I think Steve Sarkisian is a great offensive coach, but can they get it all to fit together this year? I don't know that. For 2027, if you want to tell me that they're the number one team in the nation going into 2026, then I'll probably feel a little bit better about that, because all of those guys on offense will have another year of experience and have played a full season as starters that you could probably feel a little bit more confident in. But right now, man, I'm just not so sure. One more guy that I do think is going to be a stud, though, for Texas, Ryan Wingo, wide receiver. Yeah. Love that dude. That dude, I hate that he plays for Texas because I love to watch that guy play football.
Yeah, Missouri thought they were going to get Ryan Wingo until the last second, so I hear you.
I'll just say this. Steve Sarkisian, has said recently that he thinks Arch, that chemistry he has with Wingo and some of those freshmen, that they were on the freshman team together. And so you come up together. A lot of times you got that chemistry already with those young guys, and that helps a lot. And I will say this for Texas's case, and I've had some people say, I question them being number one. I had some Texas fans say, oh, you're a hater. And it's not hating, because here's the thing. If somebody had Texas at number 10, I'd say they're underrated, right? So like I'm saying, I think you're a little too high at 1, but I think you'd be too low at 10. You're somewhere right in the middle. But here's the big question is, you just lost a ton. Have you earned that, for Texas, like, have you earned that right to just say, oh, they're just going to automatically reload and they'll be right back? No, some teams have a transition year. You have a 2-year, 3-year run, but you lose so many guys. You have what could be called a rebuilding year, where you kind of step back a little and then you take that step forward again. I think that's totally fair to say about this Texas team. And especially what John Williams said, like, if Arch is going to come back for a 26, great. They'll be absolutely hands down probably number one that year. But for me right now, it's okay to question losing all the pieces they lost. Jake Majors and all the guys on the defensive line. Alfred Collins, Matthew Golden. I mean, that's a ton of talent to lose. And Sark's recruited well, but to me, he has to prove it. We've seen Kirby do it. We saw Saban do it. To me, he's got to prove to us he can replace all that talent every single year and be a competitor.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's crazy to predict that that's going to happen. But to your point, it's not crazy to go the other way. And especially to the more optimistic side. Well, if you look at Ohio State, who's the favorite right now, they have to replace a quarterback. Georgia, they have quarterback questions. They're, I think, fourth. Yeah, they're fourth in the odds. Penn State obviously has Drew Aller coming back. But, there's a lot of teams that have quarterback questions, but yeah, I think Gordy's 100% right. It's okay to say, hey, Sarkisian, let's see it. Those other guys have done it before.
Well, and you mentioned Ohio State. Like, that's the other team that seems similar to me, because not only did they lose their quarterback, but they lost a lot of talent around the quarterback too. Emeka Egbuka, those two defensive ends that were just wreaking havoc in the college football playoff, like a lot of talent. Those two running backs that were just dominating people in the end of the season. So Ohio State, similarly to Texas, do I have questions about? And that's not to say that they can't be really, really good and be playoff teams this year. It's just, but are we just making an assumption that, okay, yeah, Texas is back. Ohio State's still the dominant team. Oregon isn't going to have any problem replacing Dylan Gabriel. The list goes on and on and on down the top 5. And I get to Georgia and I'm like, okay, Kirby gets the benefit of the doubt. 2 national championships in the last 5 years, an SEC title last year. You get the benefit of the doubt. These other guys, I still need to see them do it on a year in, year out basis.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, we haven't seen Ryan Day really compete year in and year out. He's had the most talented roster just about every year, but he's got 1 national title to show for it this past season. And then, Oregon, can they replace Dylan Gabriel? All of that has to, you're spot on with the fact that you have to prove that. And I think that's a very valid point. So, it comes into mind, like, what do these rankings really mean? Like, you have to rank somebody there at number 1. Why not rank the defending champions until they prove that they're not worthy of that spot?
Let me throw this at you guys, because Joel Klatt of Fox Sports put out his post-spring rankings, and the team he had number 1, and it's not an SEC team, but I just want to get your guys' thoughts, because it's a former SEC coach. He had Penn State as his number 1 team. And I've seen a lot of people have Penn State at 1 or 2. And I'm going, where in the world has James Franklin ever won a big game to prove that he could win a national championship?
Oh, no.
They did make the semifinals last year, right?
They did, but he consistently loses to Michigan, Ohio State. Like, the big game, James Franklin's become known for losing. So for me, just to all of a sudden pencil them in because we like Drew Aller is kind of
right.
I don't know, man. You got to prove it to me.
I think that's probably a fact of, he's just trying to be a little different, to be honest with you, which I don't totally hate. But I think if he were, if that was really, I'm going to stake my entire reputation on this pick, he'd probably go with Ohio State instead, I would imagine.
Fox Sports analyst ranks Big Ten team number 1 in his preseason rankings. Who does the Big Ten have a big network deal with? Oh, wait,
is
Fox Sports?
And to your point, John, I had to remember because I just wanted to be sure. Yes, the 2 teams they beat en route to the college football semifinal, SMU and Boise State. I mean, no offense to those teams, they had great years. But Penn State, come on. You don't
This
get
is a valid point. That's a very valid point.
A tomato can and a one-man team. Yeah, you really.
I really want to disagree with you there, but I can't.
Well, listen, I think James Franklin is a good coach. I don't think that he's a great coach. He still has a lot to prove to everybody, I think, to show that, hey, he's a guy that's ready to go win a national title. Drew Aller is a good quarterback, but can they win those big games down the stretch and prove it to everybody that, hey, this is our year to go win a natty?
They haven't yet, and I just don't see that trend really changing with James Franklin because Ohio State's loaded up. Oregon's loaded up. I don't even know if they play Oregon, but the Big Ten is a lot better, a lot more competitive. They got a tough road ahead of them. So
I'd take Texas.
I guess
I'd take Texas, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, and South Carolina, maybe even A&M all over Penn State to win a championship.
I don't know about A&M, but I could see the others. Lawrence Sellers is going to be a dude, but we'll find out week 3 when they host Vanderbilt. So that'll be fun.
One more segment to go here, guys. When we return, who's your dark horse? I'll give you a couple of teams that are maybe on the bottom. Could they make the come up this year and make the rise to the top of the SEC? We'll talk more ball here on the SEC Squad coming up next. Back to the squad in just a sec, but first, did you guys know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You could turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. You just grab your paired controller, you subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you are ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25, my preference, to Call of Duty Black Ops 6. You can play those games as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It is gaming made simple, and it is all on your Fire TV. You can play high-quality Xbox games at a fraction of the cost of a console. If you already have a console, a Fire TV Stick 4K device is more affordable and easier to travel with, allowing you to take your or your kids' games wherever you plug in. Go check them out. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. Check them out right now. Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. All right, final segment of the SEC squad this week. And we kind of talked about some of the teams near the bottom that, I think some of you mentioned Auburn or Oklahoma as a team that could make a rise this year. So I'll just kind of pose it. These are your options: Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Auburn, and Arkansas. Pick one of those teams you think could be that dark horse this year that could win the whole thing.
I don't know if you know who I'm going to pick here, but you have arguably one of the top quarterbacks in the conference with Diego Pavia. Rebuild offensive line, some question marks at the offensive skill positions, but defense is loaded up for bear. They're going to control the clock and play really good defense. So, I think Vandy could be a dark horse to really make some noise, SEC title kind of noise. I don't know, but they're going to make some noise nonetheless.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's got a chance to be a playoff contender. I don't think that that's unreasonable. I think they've got a defense that's ready to go compete. This was an offensive way from being a playoff contender last year, but the offense was so bad that they only averaged like 13 points per game in SEC play when you take all those defensive touchdowns off the board. That's how bad the offense was last year. If it's respectable, it doesn't even have to be 40 points per game. If it's around 30 points per game, this is a team that flirts with 9-10 wins and is flirting with a playoff spot as they enter November. Now they've got a tough stretch in November where they play Tennessee and Alabama, Mizzou, and LSU. And that's going to tell the story of their season. Obviously that Texas game looms large as well, but they're going to be a team that's going to be in the mix. I think in November, it's just how they manage those final four games is going to be the story. And I think, again, you got John Mateer. We talked about it a few months ago when I was on this show about how Ohio State, Notre Dame made the college football playoff national championship with transfer portal quarterbacks in their first year with those programs. John Mateer, a transfer portal quarterback, an athletic running quarterback similar to Will Howard, Riley Leonard, a dude that everybody believes is a leader. He's a gamer. I think the pieces are in place. Now it's just a matter of them going out there and proving that, hey, what happened last year, aberration. That's not who Oklahoma is. They're ready to go win some games.
I think the smart money is on the Oklahoma Sooners as well, especially from the teams you listed. But since Williams did a better job than I can of telling you the Sooners' tale there, I'm going to actually go off the board. Give me the Kentucky Wildcats. I was actually surprised that Corey was so dismissive of Kentucky. I get it. They're not the sexy team right now, but Mark Stoops knows how to coach football. There may be a ceiling to what he does, but I think there's a pretty high floor to what he does as well, to the point where you're not going to go into the basement. And based on all the rankings I'm looking at, Kentucky's got a pretty good transfer portal class here. They beat Ole Miss last year and probably, I'd say definitely cost them a shot at the college football playoff. So I just can't be quite as dismissive of Kentucky. Maybe Corey knows something that I don't know, to be fair. I
just feel like Mark Stoops has one foot out the door. I mean, he flirted with Texas A&M last year. I think that did a number on his reputation there. I just think maybe his message is getting a little stale. I don't feel like that team is very inspired to play hard for him. And then Zach Calzada just doesn't do it for me. But
we assume he's going to win that job. Cutter Boley was their freshman recruit last year, played a little bit on the back end of last year. But that's Kentucky's like the ultimate wild card. Like they went in the portal, and either this thing could be an abject disaster, or they could be pretty damn competitive. Dante Dowdle, who was the running back in Nebraska, is decent. Calzada has played a lot of football if he ends up being the starter. They get Kendrick Law from Alabama. I think they got J.J. Hester from Oklahoma. I mean, it's Jamori Macklin. I mean, it's like this hodgepodge of like, pick a card, any card, and that's how they put this roster together. It may be a disaster, but it also could work.
They have a saying for this. I can't say the second half of it. It's either going to be chicken salad or the rest. So
chicken scratch. There you go.
There you go. So John, your point on John Mateer, I think there's a little bit of difference there with him being a transfer portal quarterback. It's not your average transfer portal quarterback situation because Arbuckle is coming with him. And I think there's something to be had with that system. I think it's why Diego Pavia hit so well in Nashville at Vandy, because he had Jerry Kill and Tim Beck, the combination coming with him. So he was an expert on the system. He could elevate everybody around him. I think Mateer is going to do something similar in Oklahoma, which is why I think it's going to be different than your average, this is your first year transfer quarterback situation.
Yeah, we totally agree. I think everybody's excited because part of the reason we have high expectations for what this offense can do is because you have two voices that are able to get this offense humming. You've got Ben Arbuckle, the offensive coordinator. You've got John Mateer, the quarterback that can help off the field, get everybody on the same page. And they've brought in John Mateer's quarterback coach from Washington State as well. He was an analyst up there. He's going to be an analyst with Oklahoma. John Kuzieski, a dude that was part of the development of John Mateer, as well as Cam Ward. So a guy that, I mean, these guys know offensive football. And again, they just got to be respectable. Brent Venables is going to put a good defense on the field, and he's going to be one of the better defensive play callers in college football again this year. It's just got to get a respectable offense. You cannot have the abject failure that was Oklahoma's offense last year repeat itself, but it's not going to. It's going to be much better than what it was.
Yeah,
Well,
dumpster fire.
Let me give you guys my dark horse from that list. I'm going to go with Arkansas just because.
Taylor Green.
What are they going to be? Yeah, Taylor Green comes back as one of the more experienced quarterbacks in the SEC. He was really good last year.
How about a wild card? That's another one.
I worry about what they lost, right? They lost like multiple guys to Ole Miss. Their tight end, Luke Hass, and Patrick Kudus on the O-line. Isaiah Satania, where's he at? Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, they lost a lot, but you still got Bobby Petrino, who knows how to call plays. I mean, so at the end of the day, a lot of people are saying Sam Pittman, he's probably going to be the first coach to go. He's on the hot seat, all this. But to me, Taylor Green, if he plays up to what he is, that defense could just hold up, Arkansas might surprise some people.
I think if Sam Pittman leaves, it's probably because of health issues, and I've heard there's some health issues there, and he might retire. Is probably where he's going. But I think they're going to be kind of a tricky, dangerous team. That's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they play. If you're talking about Kentucky being a wild card, I think Arkansas is just that too.
They're going to have everybody really excited when they go to Oxford and they beat Ole Miss in week 3.
Ooh. Oh.
Wow.
Okay. Listen, if we're going to talk like regression candidates, Ole Miss has got to be at the top of the page. Sorry, Stephen Willis. I don't mean to cause you stress, but I mean, we talk about teams that lost a lot. Like Ole Miss lost a lot. And I mean, listen, Taylor Green, I think he's a lot of fun. He could create a little bit of havoc. They lost a lot on that defense, and a lot of experience, a lot of really talented guys that went the top 4 rounds of the draft. That's going to be hard to replace, and that might be a bold prediction right here, but it would not surprise me in the least to see Arkansas go pull that upset off.
And I think Steve would even tell you this, that those Arkansas Ole Miss games are about as unpredictable as they get. Like, you never know. Like that one year, I think it was with KJ Jefferson, where that game was like 50. It looked like an arena football game score.
Yeah.
And it was insane. But and Ole Miss was supposed to kill them, and they didn't.
I don't know if I totally buy into the Arkansas half of it, but the Ole Miss might be overrated this year part of it. I am kind of buying into that, and I bought into Ole Miss last year. So this isn't a bias thing. I like Williams' take there. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, they're replacing probably one of their best quarterbacks in school history, Jackson Dart. And that's no disrespect to Eli Manning or Matt Corral or even Archie. But it's true. They got to replace all of that production, and that's not an easy thing to do, even for Lane Kiffin, the portal king. It's not easy. So they're naturally going to take a step back. How far of a step back that is, I'm not sure, but it all depends on Austin Simmons and how he progresses throughout the schedule and how he responds to more than just a drive or two that he had against Georgia.
Well, you mentioned Portal King. I mean, it's 29 new guys coming in, but this Lane has done this the last 2 years, and they've been successful doing it. So that's
core, though. I mean, they've had a core of guys they could lean on. I don't think they quite have that core this year. That's the difference.
To me, if Ole Miss is going to be successful, they've got to get that run game back, because that's why they took 3 losses last year, in my opinion, was they didn't have the balanced run game to complement the offense, play ball control, stop having to punt and give the ball to the opponent. I think if they can get that run game, that's going to help Austin Simmons development way more. And yeah, I'm with you. Austin Simmons 2026 could be very scary, but maybe he has to go through some of those growing pains this year. Maybe it's an 8-4 type season for Ole Miss, but maybe building blocks for the 2026 season. We shall see.
Now, Brandon's not here. Hold on. Brandon's not here. So I want to throw this out there for the chat and for everybody listening around the world. The Florida Gators are getting some love. DJ Lagway, are we high on the Gators, or what do we think about them?
Schedule's still brutal, man. I love Lagway, but it still is a tough schedule. And like Lagway could be good, they could be a good team, but I think they're at LSU week 3. You got Texas. I mean, it's a tough
Miami, I think it's the schedule, right?
Yeah, I mean, so again, like they could be good, but still be 6-6, and we're talking about Billy Napier on the hot seat once again. So I buy in Lagway. Like I think he's going to be awesome, but the shoulder injury kind of scares me a little bit. The running backs, I like Jaden Baugh and some of the pieces they have there, but we'll see.
Yeah, he still hasn't totally
LSU,
proven it yet either, but yeah, I like the talent too.
Yeah, you go at LSU, at Miami, a week off, then you got Texas, A&M. Texas, and then A&M. Like that 4 games in 5 weeks is really that's gonna be the difference in their schedule, I think.
Never easy.
Yeah, I mean, if Florida could get Texas's schedule, maybe they could win an SEC title or two. You know, that's just kind of how it goes.
You'd all be so lucky.
We'll leave it there. Thanks so much for you guys for checking us out. Remember to follow and subscribe to your favorite SEC show. We'll be covering your favorite team every day throughout the offseason and into the season. Don't forget, I'll have you covered with the entire conference every day with Locked On SEC, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Talk to you guys next week.
Peace.